Combat survival begins long before the first shot is fired. The most important factor is preparation, knowing your environment, studying the terrain, understanding your mission, and being mentally ready for the chaos of war. In battle, fear is natural and unavoidable, but discipline and training allow a soldier to keep moving forward under pressure when others might freeze. Every true combat survivor learns essential techniques: controlling breathing, calming the mind, and narrowing focus to immediate priorities, finding cover, maintaining awareness, and keeping clear communication with comrades. Without these fundamentals, survival becomes nothing more than blind luck instead of practiced skill. The battlefield is harsh and unforgiving, a place where hesitation can mean death. Only those who prepare in both body and mind, who drill themselves to stay sharp even in confusion, have the strength to endure its demands and walk away alive. In the chaos of combat, the very first step to survival is finding cover. Bullets travel faster than thought, leaving no time for hesitation. So a trained soldier must instinctively seek protection behind walls, vehicles, rubble, or natural terrain features. True cover is more than just concealment. It must provide safety from enemy fire, a stable firing position, and enough space to maneuver if escape or movement becomes necessary. Survivors never freeze in the open. Instead, they adapt instantly, moving low, fast, and unpredictably to avoid becoming an easy target. Hesitation in those critical first seconds can be the difference between life and death. A combat veteran learns to read the battlefield like a map of survival, using every shadow, crater, and obstacle as a shield. It is this ability to transform the environment into protection that separates those who endure from those who fall. Once behind cover, situational awareness becomes a soldier's most powerful weapon for staying alive. Every second counts, and the battlefield demands constant scanning of the environment, listening for crack of gunfire, the shuffle of footsteps, or the distant rumble of approaching vehicles. Awareness is more than sight or sound. It is the ability to know where the enemy is positioned, where allies are moving, and where the next threat is most likely to emerge. Combat survivors never allow their focus to narrow on a single point. Instead, they train their eyes and ears to create a complete picture of the battlefield. Even in the chaos of explosions and shouting, the disciplined mind picks out patterns: a burst of rifle fire from a rooftop, a shadow shifting in the distance, dust clouds rising from a tank on the move, or even an unnatural silence that warns of an ambush. In war, survival often depends not on strength, but on noticing the details that others fail to see. Communication is more than a tool in combat. It is a lifeline. No soldier survives the battlefield alone. Survival depends on constant coordination with the team. Clear signals, whispered commands, or even the smallest hand gestures can mark the difference between life and death when seconds matter. Radios link units across the chaos, but they carry their own risks. Too much chatter can give away a position or create confusion. That is why seasoned survivors keep every message short, precise, and meaningful. A single call for backup, a quick warning about enemy movement, or a sharp signal marking a safe route can keep an entire squad alive. On the battlefield, silence without purpose is dangerous, but disciplined communication, spoken or unspoken, becomes a thread that binds soldiers together, turning individuals into a team and keeping that team moving as one to the storm of combat. Movement in combat must be deliberate and calculated. Running blindly invites disaster. Moving with purpose keeps a soldier alive. Survivors stay low, use terrain for concealment, and shift positions often enough to avoid predictability. Each step is measured, dashing from cover to cover, pausing only when it's safe to take stock. A moving target is harder to hit, but reckless speed exposes vulnerabilities. The battlefield rewards those who master the balance between speed and caution. Every movement is guided by constant awareness. When to sprint, when to crawl, when to hold absolutely still. Eyes scan, ears listen, and decisions are small and steady rather than hurried and wide. Every choice conserves energy and reduces risk. Rhythm matters. Move with intent, break patterns, and let the environment shape your path. Discipline, observation, and restraint turn motion into advantage. In the end, survival is not about how fast you go, but how thoughtfully you move, each calculated step a choice between life and camouflage loss. And concealment are survival arts as old as conflict itself. A soldier who melts into the environment can observe, move, and act unseen. Survivors favor natural cover, trees, shadows, rubble, and tailor their kit to the terrain. A helmet wrapped with cloth, a face streaked with dirt, or simply holding still for long, patient minutes can be the difference between life and death. Motion draws attention. Restraint makes you vanish. In battle, the invisible fighter shapes engagements from the shadows, choosing where to watch, when to slip away, and how to present nothing at all. Blending isn't just about matching color. It's about posture, silhouette, and timing. Keep gear low, break outlines, and let the landscape hide you. Quiet breathing, slow adjustment, and a willingness to be still are as important as any tool. The unseen soldier forces the enemy to guess. Uncertainty is a weapon. Master concealment, and you control when and how the fight occurs. Every survivor in combat understands the value of conserving energy and resources. The battlefield is unpredictable. Sometimes a clash is over in minutes, and other times it drags on for days, grinding down even the strongest. A soldier who wastes strength in the first hour may not have enough left for the long haul. Survivors pace themselves, moving only when necessary, resting whenever possible, and protecting their stamina as if it were their most precious weapon. Water, food, and ammunition are treated like gold. Once they are gone, desperation sets in quickly. The wise fighter knows that survival is not about reckless bursts of effort, but about measured endurance. Fighting smart, not just hard, and saving every ounce of strength the moment it is truly needed. Discipline with ammunition is just as critical. Every bullet carries weight, and every round has purpose. Reckless fire can leave a soldier defenseless at the worst possible moment. Survivors aim carefully, firing only when they have a clear target, making each shot count. Suppressive fire has its place, but indiscriminate shooting drains resources and invites disaster. On the battlefield, adrenaline tempts even seasoned fighters to spray rounds blindly, but discipline means resisting that urge. Reloading under pressure is done with control, fast, deliberate, and silent, never frantic. Ammunition is more than metal. It is survival. Those who ration it with discipline ensure they can fight not only the first engagement, but the many that may follow. First aid is another essential skill every combat survivor must master. Medical help is rarely close, and on the battlefield seconds often decide life or death. A soldier who knows how to stop bleeding, treat shock, or apply a tourniquet can change an outcome, saving a comrade or themselves. Survivors carry basic medical kits and train to use them even under fire, working with speed and precision despite the chaos around them. Pain, fear, and confusion are constant companions, but discipline turns panic into calm action. The ability to stabilize a wound, restore breathing, or keep a fellow fighter conscious is as vital as the ability to pull a trigger. Together, these principles, energy conservation, ammunition discipline, and mastery of first aid, form the backbone of battlefield survival. They are not as loud as gunfire or as visible as a charge, but they decide who endures when days stretch long and battles pile one upon another. The survivor is not always the fastest or fiercest, but the one who remains steady, who conserves, who adapts, and who stays prepared for what comes next. Survival is not luck. It is discipline, awareness, and the will to outlast the fight. Hydration and nutrition are often overlooked in war, yet they are the hidden forces that decide who endures a long fight and who collapses before the mission is done. A soldier without water weakens with alarming speed. Vision blurs, hands tremble, focus slips, and strength drains away hour by hour. Veterans know this truth, and that is why survivors ration every single drop. They drink steadily in measured amounts, keeping the body fuel for endurance instead of wasting precious water in a moment of desperation. Food is no less important, though it may be scarce in combat. Military rations are designed for survival, eaten slowly and sparingly to release energy over time. Even while shells fall and bullets fly, the wise fighter protects their strength, staying hydrated and nourished, because thirst and hunger are enemies as deadly as any rifle. On the battlefield, endurance belongs not just to the strongest, but to those who prepare for both. Equally vital is the skill of navigation, a survival art that can never be ignored. In the fog of war, soldiers are often cut off from their units, scattered in ruined cities, dense forests, or endless open fields with no landmarks in sight. The survivor must know how to read the land, following rivers that lead to settlements, using the rising sun or the stars at night to find direction, and even watching smoke on the horizon to judge where battles are raging. Maps and compasses are valuable tools, but awareness of terrain is just as critical. A fighter who can navigate avoids ambushes, locate safe routes, and find their way back to allies. Getting lost in combat is more than simple confusion. It can mean stumbling straight into the enemy's hands. Survival belongs not to the reckless wanderer, but to the soldier who always knows where they stand and where they must go. Night combat is a world unlike any other, a battlefield where darkness becomes both shield and danger. In the black of night, shadows conceal everything, friend and foe alike, forcing soldiers to rely on instincts sharpened beyond normal limits. Survivors learn to adjust their senses, listening more than seeing, picking up the crunch of distant footsteps, the click of a weapon, or the faint hum of an engine. Movement at night is deliberate and controlled, slow enough to stay silent, fast enough to avoid exposure. Sudden flashes of light, even the glow of a cigarette, can give away a position and invite death. Instead, survivors use the pale glow of moonlight, the flicker of fire, or even the natural darkness of rubble and trees as tools for concealment or exposure. Night vision devices provide an advantage, but discipline always matters more than technology. A soldier who cannot control their noise or movements remains vulnerable. At night, patience becomes a weapon, silence becomes armor, and survival belongs to the fighter who learns to turn darkness into an ally instead of fearing it as a threat. Ambushes, on the other hand, are among the deadliest dangers a soldier will ever face. They are designed to overwhelm through shock, pouring bullets and firepower into a kill zone where there seems to be no escape. The untrained instinct may be to panic or freeze, but survivors know hesitation is death. Training teaches immediate action, dropping for cover, returning fire, and breaking free from the trap. Survivors never stay where the enemy wants them. They move low, fast, and decisively, using communication to keep the unit together. Smoke, grenades, and suppressive fire are not just tools of offense, but survival, creating the precious seconds needed to escape the kill zone. Discipline under shock is the difference between life and death. An ambush is designed to destroy, but the soldier who responds with speed, control, and courage can turn certain death into survival, even striking back when the enemy least expects it. And then there is artillery, the relentless thunder of war from above. Shells scream to the sky and explode with earth-shaking violence, tearing ground and steel apart, breaking both bodies and morale. Survivors know instinctively that the open ground is death. The only answer is to drop flat, face pressed into the earth, hands shielding the head, and mouth slightly open to absorb the shock waves that would otherwise crush lungs and burst eardrums. Trenches, ditches, and thick walls become lifelines, offering a fragile barrier against the storm. Discipline matters even when fear takes hold, because after barrage ends, danger is not over. Survivors know artillery often signals the start of a ground assault. When the earth stops shaking and the smoke begins to clear, the trained soldier rises quickly, weapon ready, prepared to repel the next attack. Survival under artillery is not about avoiding fear. It is about mastering it, riding out the thunder, and standing ready when others cannot. On the battlefield, survival in close quarters combat demands speed, precision, and absolute focus. Urban warfare, trench fighting, or sudden room-to-room battles leave no time for hesitation, no space for second chances. Survivors clear each space methodically, moving through doorways low and fast, scanning every angle and checking corners with the discipline of muscle memory. They maintain constant awareness of allies, knowing that friendly fire is as dangerous as the enemy itself. In these brutal encounters, every shadow can conceal death. Every doorway may hide an ambush. Hesitation, even for a heartbeat, can be fatal. When the fight closes in, Weapons shift from rifles to pistols, from knives to bare hands, adapting to whatever the moment demands. In close combat, survival is not measured by strength alone, but by discipline, awareness, and a will to act faster and more decisively than the enemy. But even beyond the clash of weapons, survival in combat depends on the strength of the mind. The battlefield is not only a test of the body, it is a relentless assault on the spirit. Fear, exhaustion, grief, and doubt can break a soldier long before bullets ever touch them. Survivors understand this truth. They learn to master their panic, to steady their breathing when adrenaline surges, and to bring their focus back to the mission even as chaos erupts around them. A clear mind finds options where panic sees only death. Mental resilience is built from discipline, from training repeated until it becomes instinct, and from the unbreakable bond between comrades who refuse to fall apart. A soldier who can control his thoughts, even in the darkest moment, gains an advantage greater than any weapon. In war, the strongest weapon is not always a rifle or the blade. It is the will to endure when everything inside screams to surrender. And above all, teamwork is the backbone of survival. No soldier fights or wins alone. Survival in combat depends on trust, coordination, and shared responsibility. Each fighter covers the other, moving as a unit, ensuring that no one is left behind. Survivors learn to anticipate their comrades' actions, to trust hand signals, to rely on the rhythm of the unit until it feels like one body moving with many minds. A disciplined squad can withstand overwhelming odds where individuals would be destroyed. The battlefield rewards brotherhood and punishes isolation. A strong unit endures, while a broken one collapses quickly under fire. And in the end, war teaches one unshakable truth. Survival is not only about protecting the self. It is about the strength of the team, the courage to stand for each other, and the will to endure together through the storm of combat. It is this unity, this shared bond in the face of chaos, that transforms ordinary soldiers into survivors. Morale determines whether soldiers endure or break under the relentless pressure of war. A hopeful spirit, even in the harshest and darkest conditions, fuels strength when the body weakens, when exhaustion claws at every muscle, and when despair threatens to take hold. The battlefield strips away comfort and safety, leaving only chaos. Yet hope becomes the invisible shield that keeps a fighter standing. Soldiers fight not just for themselves, but for the comrades at their side, for families waiting far away, and for the cause they believe is worth the sacrifice. Survivors cling to hope as if it were armor, sometimes through letters folded in pockets, photographs tucked into helmets, or the simple faith that tomorrow will come, that will live, that will protect, often outmatches even the most superior firepower. A soldier who carries morale stands firm against overwhelming odds, while one who loses it crumbles before the enemy ever strikes. But spirit alone does not guarantee survival. Combat demands adaptation. War is unpredictable, and no plan survives first contact with the enemy. Those who cling to routine often perish, while those who bend and adjust endure. Survivors improvise when supplies run short, crafting weapons or tools out of whatever they can find. They shift tactics when ambushed, turning the terrain itself into an ally. A shattered wall becomes a barricade. Broken glass on the ground becomes a silent alarm. Even footprints in the mud reveal danger or opportunity. Adaptation is more than quick thinking. It is a mindset of refusing to be trapped, refusing to accept that any corner is final. In battle, rigidity is weakness. The strongest survivors are not the ones who hold their ground blindly, but those who flow with the chaos, bending like branches in a storm instead of breaking beneath it. And at the heart of it all lies resilience. Combat pushes human beings to their breaking point, testing both body and soul. Fear eats away at courage. Exhaustion dulls instincts. Loss cuts deeper than any wound. Yet true survivors endure. They rise from the ashes with scars on their bodies and shadows in their minds, but also with strength forged in fire. Their courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to keep moving forward in spite of it. They carry lessons that last a lifetime: sacrifice, unity, and the unbreakable will to live. Survival in combat is not reserved for the strongest or best equipped. It belongs to those who refuse to surrender. This is the essence of survival. Hope that fuels the spirit, adaptation that bends with chaos, and resilience that endures the storm.